Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lamstan CPD. That's for doctors' dentistry site. And Lamstan is an organization of young people who share the same passion for assisting their fellow students and professionals from different parts of the world. Students of different grades are offered assistance to pursue their dream in life. Various students, due to incompetent facilities or opportunities in their native area, finds it necessary for moving out to cities to pursue their studies and career. Pursuing studies or hunting jobs in other cities open a whole new can of worms. In this crusade, students often get trapped into dilemmas such as which college to study, which course to opt for, will engineering do the best for them, or should they opt for commerce courses, and the list goes on till eternity. In all this chaos, many students end up studying in wrong colleges or leaving the altogether whole idea and returning back to their respective home. At Lamstan, we connect students from remote areas to mentors and professionals at global level. So, as today's session, we started with the session most noble profession in the world, I would say, from nursing, doctors, MBBS side, and today the session is dedicated to more on BDS and dentistry side. So, at Lamstan, we are focusing on essential career services that I would say, and today we will all know more about career in dentistry. So today we have two experts, that's Dr. Tunduk Golkar and Dr. Rexin Tamchus, and both of them are from dentistry side. So we would welcome them for the session.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tunduk Dolkar, and I'm pursuing my MDS from PGI Chandigarh in pediatric dentistry. So me and Dr. Rexin. So Dr. Rexin, can you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone and good evening. I am Dr. Rexin Tamchur. I am currently pursuing my post-graduation in dentistry, that is MDS from All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So we and Tunduk today will be discussing the career options and what are the career options about the dentistry, and whether what are the good thing and bad things, whether to do it, whether to go for a dentistry or not. So in a subsequent slide we will be discussing about it. So we want to make it more of an interactive session rather than a monotonous seminar. So if anyone has a question in between, so we request you kindly unmute and ask a question in the right way in the between the slides. So it will be better, so that it's a interactive session rather than a seminar. So Tunduk, you can start now.
So we are just like, yeah, sure. So even I want to say that we need to be more interactive in this session. Okay. So without any hesitation, you can ask the questions. You can, we are still like MDS in MDS program. So we need to be interactive enough. So starting with this, today we'll talk about dentistry as a career option, being a dental surgeon, how it is to be a dentist and how it is to be a dental surgeon. So we'll start with this. Starting with when we think about being a dentist, we have a very, very common vision about being a dentist that, okay, now it's going to be like this, So this kind of visions we have, either we have this kind of vision or we have such a vision. And then what happens is, like, most of the people who haven't been to a dentist for quite a while time, they all have some sort of phobia inside their heads about dentists, right? So, but then no, we are way better than what people assume of us. So this is in our clinic in PGI where we treat children at different times and with different children of different age groups, and we have a very friendly environment here. We do cases under general anesthesia, and so dentistry is far, much more than what we assume. Okay, so when we talk about BDS, first of all, we need to be very clear about one thing, that BDS is not a part of MBBS. It's totally a different career option. And of course, there is some level of partial overlap in the core course, because of which that is part of MBBS, but it is not at all a part of MBBS. And this is basically, this confusion starts from the fact that we have the same entrance exam. So Rigzin, like, you have anything to add on it, because this is one of the major problems we need to talk about.
Yeah, so what I would like to add is that most of the people they end up doing BDS because even me, they did MBBS just they are doing BDS just because they couldn't get into the MBBS. So what we suggest is just for the sake of doing, if you are not getting an MBBS, we suggest you not to go for a BDS unless and until you have checked it whether you want to do it or not. So you need to be very careful about whether you want to go for a BDS or not. So we expect you just don't go for a BDS if you are not getting through an MBBS.
So inang changme sangkapsan ko tiyo no ki ngata exam prepare chozane, we have a mindset. We usually generally all of us we have a like aim yo no khala MBBS choches no existe. But then what happens is like very small margin ikane ngatang lusano MBBS inang ko we do not get at the seat. Okay, so we tend to then we think okay chalo BDS so we go for it. But what happens eventually is like you start to hate the profession and you don't do good in it, right? So it's very important for us to understand that, you know, you need to have a proper goal set up. Okay, now I have not got MBBS, so that's why I'm doing BDS. This should never be the criteria. It should be because I want to do it, right? So this is very important. And then how do we get like what is the pattern of this exam, right? So first of all, this for the undergraduate level exam, it is the national eligibility cum entrance exam, which you already know that it is NEET, for which you prepare. It is the examination conducted by this NDE for both MBBS and BDS, right? So it is conducted every, and then you can check for further details about the seats and everything on the website itself, because it changes every year. And this is the website of Human Resource Development, and from there you can get the details about the seats. So they have this exam, and then from this we get the college for MBBS and BDS. So the total number of colleges in India are around 313, like specifically for dental colleges in India.
As of now, there are around 313 dental colleges in India. So out of which only 259 colleges have a MDS seat. That is, a PG seats are available. So on this, in this 313 colleges, there are around 27,000 seats of BDS in all over India. So and when we look to the MDS compared to the BDS, their MDS seats are very low as compared to that of BDS. That is around 1,352 seats only. So out of that 1,352 seats, only 100 seats are the government seats, which means this is a free seat that you don't have to pay for the seats. Out of that 1,350, then out of that, most of the good seats are available in the government seats only. So in when we come to the Jammu and Kashmir, there are around 3 colleges. Out of that, 2 is a government college. One is in Srinagar, GDC Srinagar. One is a GDC in Jammu. Another one is a private college that is also in Jammu. So in these colleges, there are two government seats. We have 50 seats each for the BDS, and the private college in the Jammu has 100 BDS seats. So the criteria for getting into this, before there used to be a separate CET exams. Now it has come under the NEET. So for to get into the these colleges, so you need to appear for the NEET. So till now we are not aware of whether they are providing seats for the next year or not. But then there was till now when we were doing, there was 2% of the seats were reserved for the Ladakhi students. That means that comes around that comes around 2 seats were there for the Ladakhi students. So out of that, there are MDS seats. When you think about a PG, there are around 30 seats only. So before it was very less, 12 seats. Now they have increased to the 30 seats. So that is all the MDS seats are the government.
Next slide. So here, it's the important part is that like we need to understand the ratio, right? Like we need to understand. We need to understand the number of seats. Like, see, for UG, we have around like 27,000 seats. That includes both government and private colleges. And for MDS, we just have 30 seats in the government setup. And now we have to understand that Jammu and Kashmir people, including even after being a union territory status, we still are not eligible for the all India seats. Of course, not eligible as in like we have to get an affidavit done or something. So, but then one thing is very important, that MDS seats are very low. Like we have 30 government seats. That means these seats are only for like for Jammu and Kashmir people only. So, but then from these seats, we have 2 seats for ST category, and that not only includes students from Ladakh, it also includes students from like, you know, the ST Gujjar and Bakkarwal community people. They are from Jammu and Kashmir, different parts of the Jammu and Kashmir. So we need to compete on a very good, like what do you say? It's a very the competition is really high, and then we also not tend to get very good like, you know, clinical branches among these 30 seats, because most of the seats are mainly taken by the open merit students. And now here I have to highlight one thing is that we have this mindset that we have this category of scheduled tribe and we have to compete for 2 seats. So what happens is, like, once we clear the exam, when we clear the exam in ST category, what happens is that we tend to get non-clinical branches, you know, because we don't have that much of merit. We don't fall in that merit that we get a clinical branch. So what happens is we tend to get non-clinical seats. So for this, we have to understand that you have to be very clear in your thought that you're not competing for just 2 seats. So you need to be very, your preparation should be such that you tend to, you know, compete with the open merit students, so that you get into open merit and then you get a good clinical branch. So this is very important. Then, according to WHO, the ideal dentist population ratio is like 1:7,500. And in 2004, the dentist population ratio in India was 1:30,000, which is very low. But in 2014, as per the World Health Statistics, the ratio came up to 1:10,000. So we can see there's a huge, you know, increase in number of the dental graduates over these years, over the 10 years of gap. And the record shows that only 5% of the graduated dentists are working in the government setup. So this is one of the things we need to consider before, like, you know, considering it as a profession and even after graduating. So this is how the scenario is. So next comes like after. So Rixin, do you want to add something on this?
I would like to add is that so chances of getting into a government sector and a government job is really tough this as a being a dentist. So most of there are saturation level is also there. So in the subsequent slides, I think we'll be discussing about that. So better we discuss in the next slide only.
Okay.
So how to prepare? Okay, you must carry on, I guess.
You can continue.
So, coming to the how to prepare for an entrance exam. So we both will be discussing on how to, like, many students have asked the question how to prepare for an the entrance exam. So this part is the most unpredictable and tough things to do. So can you go to the next slide?
Yeah. So so no, you know, it's a very old saying that which is very true, which still works. And then it's again very
am I missing any word here? I guess there's some connection issue, right? I'm just, are you able to hear?
Remember the story of the thirsty crow, how the thirsty crow brought all the pebbles inside the pot, and the water level up, and water level came up, and then he drank it. So this is like that. But then the smart crow is like the thirsty crow has got structuring. This is what is the tool, you know, the smart work tool. And we are very lucky that we have got the tool. Today, we are very fortunate that we have so many video lectures, we have so many coaching institutes in hand, we have so many notes to study, we have everything, we have got all the smart tools. Now the question is how to use it, and then how appropriately you are able to use everything that we have. So we need to be very smart to, along with working hard, we need to be smart as well. So when we talk about coaching classes, it's a very big question for both undergraduates and postgraduate students, that whether we go for coaching or not, you're still like, okay, you go to school or you take tuitions too. So this kind of notion we have questions like this. So it's very important because it has got many advantages of being in a coaching institute. Like obviously you get a very good competitive environment. We are there with all the students who are going to appear for the upcoming exam. Those coaching classes, they provide latest updates about the subject. We get a lot of test practices, so that we can self-evaluate about ourselves, where we stand. And then these are the main advantages of coaching institute, right? But there are so many people who still do very well without coaching institute. But then it's that is another. This is what is an advantage of coaching institute. You still can prepare without coaching institute, but coaching institutes always provide us, these advantages. So, what do you say, Rixin, about coaching institutes?
What I suggest is first you need to have a good base in order to take a medical branch, because when we think that when we study at 10th class, the medical biology subject seems really easy, then we could think that we could easily carry that in that 11th 12th class. But then when it comes to the 11th 12th class, it's very hectic. So first of all, when you have to start it from the first 9th 10th only. If you are preparing, your mindset should be there. So when you should get a good marks in 10th class. Then after that, if you get a good marks in 10th class, then you have a good chances of getting a good school admission in a good school after for 11th 12th. Then there you meet a lot of students who are really competitive, who are really good at studies. Then you look up to them, and then you compare yourself. So it's better, you have a better chance if you have a good school to do a better if you have a good marks in 10th class. So after that, what I find is after that, find is that people tend to stick to a books other than the CBSE books. That is, CBSE books are very comprehensive books. If you go through the CBSE books properly, so you have a more chances of getting a good score in a NEET, other than going through a good like big books which take you off the track. So these are what I suggest is stick to the CBSE books 11th or 12th. That has a very good components are there which are going to be there in an exam. So and apart from that, you need to be consistent with the study. So if you are aiming for an NEET for an MBBS or BDS, you should at least put in 6 to 7 hours daily of hard work. That too, not for a 1 day, not for a 2 day. That you should be consistent with your hard work. So hard work and consistency is the key to get into. Apart from that, coaching is also there. So I suggest that hard work and consistency is important. So there are online classes also, as Tundu said. There are online classes. There are many things at disposal nowadays at disposal. So you can use the internet. You can use the online free classes. And apart from that, there are the trends are changing. So there are very lots of things coming up. So there are, you can do good if you are staying updated with everything what's happening.
Yeah. So all in all, it depends on each of us. How do we take it up? Like, how do we prepare? But at the same time, we need to, see the risk and benefit ratio of having a coaching and not having a coaching. So it depends on you. And then next is, now we'll be talking about like bachelor's of dental surgery as such, like how is the course, what do we do all these 5 years, and then what after that. So starting with this, it's basically a 5 years course, which comprises of 4 years of regular, academic sections, and 1 year of compulsory and internship, which is basically done in the same institute where you have done your 4 years of training. And one option is that you can get your internship done. You can do your internship in any other college as well. So this is a 5 years course. And first year, what do we read in first year? Starting with first year. So first of all, when you enter a medical college, it's very, it's always an excitement, like, you always tend to think what will be there and stuff. So the first year is very different for us. So first year is because you just have jumped from 12th standard to a different college. So it's very different, and at the same time, it's exciting. So the first year we tend to study about anatomy. So as a dentistry student, we tend to be very limited to the anatomy of the human, in which we read mainly the head and neck portion. Of course, in some good colleges, they study upper limbs and lower limbs as well. But at the same time, first we study about the head and neck portion, and then we study about the human physiology, like, all the systems of different systems of the body. And then we study biochemistry, where we tend to study about all the proteins, RNA, DNA, and different chemicals of the body. And then we, in addition to the 3 subjects which are common to the MBBS graduates, we study dental anatomy and histology, in which we study about the tooth structure, different parts of the tooth, and the histological part of the tooth. And then we do some sort of artwork as well. We tend to do some, tooth carving on a soap and on wax carving, like that. So this is pretty exciting. First year is pretty exciting, but at the same time, it is very stressful, because it's totally a different scenario what we had imagined. So so this is about first year. And then continuing with the second year mainly we study about the journal pathology. We have second year is again 1-year program for BDS people, and we study about the pathology, journal pathology, and we restrict ourselves to not to all the systems, but we are restricted to the journal pathology. And then we study about the microbiology, pharmacology, is all about the drugs, microbiology is all about the microorganisms, and dental. And then we have 3 dental subjects as well in second year, which is dental materials, in which we study about all the different kind of agents we use in dentistry, all the material we use, along with the preclinical, prosthodontic, and conservative. In these are basically the we do the preclinical work. Like prosthodontics is basically the the denture workups and everything. So we tend to do it in a typhodon, or we tend to do it on a, what you can say that, before entering into the clinics, we need to train ourselves to how to deal with the patients, how to treat the patients. So certain in a blueprint kind of way, we do some work on certain models and stuff like that. So this is the preclinical prosthodontic, where we make all the dentures and stuff. And then for preclinical conservative is mainly about the the fillings, dental fillings, and the root canal. So we practice it on typhos, or we can say the models, and then we end up doing it on the patients in the third year. So this is about the second year. Second year is pretty chill year, because in this we get enough of time to relax ourselves, because first year is supposed to be very hectic. And then in second year, it's a very gala time we have in second year. And then comes the third year. Third year is basically about, we study about journal surgery, journal medicine. These 2 subjects again overlap with the MBBS people, but we are restricted to certain topics only. And we have oral pathology and journal anesthesiology. So in oral pathology is our main branch, in which we study about all the pathologies of the mouth, including tooth and the tongue, palate, and we study about all the pathologies of the oral cavity, including both hard tissue structure and the soft tissue structures. And we also study general anesthesiology. The classes are conducted in medical college. We have a separate lecture for it. And then along with all of these, we have clinical postings as well, both in the dental section and the medical section, where we have postings in journal surgery and journal medicine. We tend to see the journal surgery ward patients and journal medicine ward patients. We tend to learn, we get to learn the basic history taking examination in both surgery and medicine. And along with that, we have the postings, regular postings in dental, different branches of the departments of dental as well. So then coming to the next year, that is the fourth year, the final year, we have like now in final year, one thing very surprising is that we have all the 8 subjects of dentistry in final year. And the first we'll talk one by one. First is pediatric and preventive dentistry, which is all about the dentistry of kids. Second is conservative dentistry, which is about the, you know, the fillings and the root canals and stuff. And then third is prosthodontics, in which this is more of a geriatric kind of dentistry, where we deal with old patients for dentures and, you know, partial dentures and full dentures. And then we have orthodontics and dentofacial orthopedics, in which we have, this is basically the branch which deals with braces and all, alignment of the tooth and face structure. And then we have oral medicine and radiology, which is mainly diagnostic kind of a branch, which is the very basic one. And then we have oral and maxillofacial surgery. This is the surgical branch where we, you know, like who specializes in what we call it, the dental tooth extraction and some minor surgeries of head and neck. And then the public health dentistry, which is again a kind of community medicine kind of thing. It is public health dentistry, where we tend to have field trips and we tend to do certain studies, short surveys, etc. And periodontology is all about the gums, you know, study of gums, gingiva and others, health, you know, oral health issues. We deal with this in periodontology. So these are the 8 branches of dentistry which have the where we have the clinical postings, and these are the core branches of dentistry. So when after final year, when you think of MDS, so we think of all these subjects to get our MDS in, and including oral pathology and histology. So these are the 9 branches total in which we can do our masters. So further, Rixin, can you continue?
Yeah, sure. So next slide, please. So the thing is, when you come to the internship, then real problem starts. Is that what are you going to do after that? So there are many things to do. There are not lots of scope, but there are some things to do after the internship. So next slide, please.
Rixin, before that, I want to add this. Like after your final year, we have 1 year compulsory internship, in which we do it we practice in our own hospital, in our institute hospital, or in a different hospital as well, where we get this opportunity to deal with different patients in all the 8-9 departments I initially talked about. So in these departments, we have communication with the patient. We are just like working, we are practicing dentist in different departments. So in the government colleges, we get like around, we are being paid for this. We have a stipend of around 12,000 to 20,000. It varies. And in Jammu and Kashmir, they have increased the stipend to 12,000. Initially, it was 4,800. And the stipend ranges from 12,000 to 20,000 in different colleges. In the colleges in Delhi, they have around 20 plus stipend. So this is about internship. Internship is a very turning point for us, because in this we have to decide whether we need to pursue further or not, or how do we prepare for our MDS examinations, you know. So this is how it is. So yeah, Rixin. But then internship is like very chilled and you also enjoy it. But the money that comes, it goes like anything. So we don't know it.
Days no internship. So the thing is, what after internship, as Dolkar said, then 4 year you study lots of theoretical. Then in 1 year internship you try to imply those things on clinical scenario. So then the real problem is what after internship. So there are 4 things you could do. Next slide, please. There are house job. It means you have a contractual work for an 1 year in, and that the colleges which you are doing that, and after that there's a MDS. That is a post graduation, and army is there, scope in army also, and short courses are also there, hands on. That are just to make your clinical hand better, so that you know the things that you could not learn in the that your BDS courses. So you want to add some more? So now coming to the house job or a junior residency, or we call it a non-academic, there are various places which provide the junior residency. That is like JDCs, like government colleges. They tends to have around 30-40 junior residency in the different specialities. Like Dolkar has already explained about the 8 specialities. So there are around 5 to 6 seats in all the specialities which provide the junior residency for around 1 year. So in GDCs, they pay around, they doesn't pay you much, but they pay you around 20 to 30,000 as stipend. But then you really get a nice place to work and you need to you get a chance to learn most of the clinical work from this residency only. So you are refining your clinical hand, you are becoming more confident in this junior residency. Apart from that, AIMS and PGI, when you appear for the academic exams, that is post graduation, that is a 3 year course. If you are not getting into the residency course, that is the PG course, then if you are then the one below, just below the below rank, they will provide with the AIMS and this academic, that junior residency. This course 6 months, and then they tend to rotate you in the different department, and then here you would learn many things, how things work. And it's like it's a short term, that is they give you a chance to do a the junior residency only for a 6 month, and that you can extend up to 1 year. So this is like just kind of what do we call it, some after that internship you could do this for a while, so that you have something to do. So after that, then
Yeah.
government hospitals in Delhi also provide some junior residency course. Duration is, like I've already mentioned, is 6 to 12 months. So you want to add anything more about it, Kundu?
Yeah, so I wanted to say that the government hospitals in Delhi, they have very, what do you call it, very good stipend, and at the same time, you can get the updates about the vacancies on the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare website in New Delhi. So this is very, it's very unpredictable. Sometimes they have seats for ST or in open merit as well, and sometimes they don't have. So it's very unpredictable, but at the same time, when you get into these, they pay you really good. And AIMS
But
and
then,
PGI also pays well. Yeah.
But then seats are very limited in number in GDC
Yeah,
and
exactly.
AIMS and PGI, around 3 to 4 seats. So it's really tough to get through.
Yeah, and then at the same time, it's always like we never know. It's unpredictable. They don't have a fixed schedule for the seats as well, right? Yeah.
Then after that, this comes to the most sort things after the BDS and the MDS. This is the equivalent to MD or MS MBBS people does. So to get into this, you need to appear for the NEET PG exam. So if you are after that you have done the BDS, then you go for the NEET PG or in the entrance exam. So this happens every year. Then apart from that, AIMS, PGI, and JIPMA, these three institutes are the deemed in university. So they provide you, they conduct this exam 6 monthly. So they have limited number of seats, mostly around 3 to 5, 6 seats per in a 6 monthly basis. So apart from the NEET PG seats, there are around, I've already discussed, like Jammu and Kashmir, there were 630 seats in the GDCs, and apart there are 1300 seats all over the India. So the problem with being a JNK student is that till now we are not eligible for the NEET PG. If even we are appearing, we cannot get the seats of the colleges that were outside the Jammu and Kashmir. So in the coming time after this UT, so we are hoping to see that we are eligible for all the exams. So there are many more chances of us getting through the many other good colleges in India. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's yeah. So it's a 3 year course program, really hectic. They like a very tough time in this year, because you have the patience to do. You have lots of things to work, and there are many things you have to do in this academics and also clinical work also. So this you can do this PGs in GDC, AIMS, or PGI, but then GDC is conducted to the NEET. MC, PGI they conduct every 6 monthly basis. So you need to go through AIMS and PGI website for the number of seats and how when are they conducting the exam. For the GDC, you need to go through the NEET PG. In private colleges, they you can check from that MCC guidelines. So we will be discussing the subsequent slides.
So, so in the residency program, we usually have the clinical experience. So we kind of handle the outpatient department. We tend to see special cases, and we, actually the junior residents run the hospital, so along with the senior residents. And then we have research publications to do, and we have our thesis work, dissertation, and all the, research, small researches can also be conducted. So and these are this research, the thesis is they are also supported by the grant commissions, like they kind of fund you for the research project as well. So these are certain opportunities that we tend to get in MDS junior residency. And now again, I would like to highlight one thing that, once we give the exams for AIMS and PGI and also NEET, since we already know that people from Jammu and Kashmir are still not eligible for the All India NEET PG, we are only eligible for our own state seats. So this is again a very big problem, because we tend to get good marks, but we don't get a good college. We don't get a seat in our own institute because because the competition is really high. So what happens is, like, people tend to join private colleges, right? Because we have good rank, but then we are not getting seats in our own this Jammu and Kashmir dental colleges. So people tend to go for private colleges. Now the question is, like, should we as Ladakhi students, and we have a scheduled tribe status, so should we go for it? So the problem is that these colleges are very expensive, and at the same time, what happens is they have a separate counseling for different branches. They have separate counselings which happens on their own college websites. Once you're through with the NEET PG exam, once you have qualified the exam, you can register yourself to different colleges, and then for that you have to sort out like which are the good colleges among all the private institutes. There are so many private colleges in the South India which are very, really good. So we can sort there, and we can find out we again have to attend the counselings there. But our suggestion, like, as far as I am concerned, I think that going for a private college, that too for MDS, is another question, because again, after MDS, what, because it doesn't guarantee you a job or something. But if you're passionate enough to do, you can also go off for private colleges after this. But this you have to decide on your own. So this is something of importance I thought to add on. And then now, like, after MDS, we have like certain like options. Like, what kind of options? We can lead a project as a research assistant. We can be a research assistant in a project going on in any central institute like AIMS or PGI or any kind of research institute. And then we can be a senior scientist or a junior scientist in different projects. And in fact, we can lead a research project if we are competent enough. And along with that, we can be a faculty member as well in different institutes. And then, of course, there is always this thing for private practice. Start our own practice. After earning in MDS program, we can again make some money, and then we can start our own private practice. So these are the limited prospects after MDS. And yeah, and then Rixin, you can continue.
Next slide, please.
Yeah.
So lots of people have been asking about the scope of army and for the medical as well as a dental. So army has an army dental corps and army medical corps. If anyone wants to join the army, you can go through and go do your MBBS in AFMC, that is Armed Forces Medical College, that is in Pune. So you need to check that website. So when do they conduct the entrance exam? So if you are going to be an army doctor, so you can check that if you can do MBBS there. So the thing is that if you are doing armed force in MBBS in FMC, so what you have a bond of 5 years. For that, after that, when you are done with the MBBS, you need to serve the Armed Forces Medical College, Armed Forces for around 5 years. So as far as army dental corps are concerned, so this before it used to be interview basis based on the marks the people are getting through. So now they have changed it to a need to. So when you appear for a need, then you can they ask for ask for your form submission. You submit a form, then they will, if you are going according to the rank, they will call you for an interview. If you are getting into the interview, then they will interview. If you clear the interview, then they call you for the medical. So there are limited number of seats, around 40 to 50 seats, and please check it. There are no reservation in armed force medical medical or dental corps. So you will be treated as a general. So you don't expect any reservation in this armed force dental courses. So
Yeah, exactly.
the thing is, armed force medical or dental is a very good opportunity, because they pay you a lot of good amount, and it's a really nice life you get there. Then apart from that, it is a short service commission. That means if you are going through the short service commission, that is, if you are going through the dental going to get into the dental corps, you can serve for a 5 year first 5 years. Then you can extend it for a more of 5 years. Then after that, more of 14 years. So total of 14 years you can serve in the army dental corps. Then after that you have to retire. So apart from that, there are another way to get into the permanent dental
Commission.
corps commission. Permanent commission you can become. So that after that, when you join, you have, after 2 years, you have a chance to go to have an exam for that happens after 2 years. So for the, if you want to be a permanent commission, then first you need to get into the short service commission. Then only you can try for a permanent commission. Otherwise, there are no separate way to go to the permanent service commission.
Yeah, and then it's good news is that we have a senior, one of the seniors, Ladakhi senior, I think Dr. Stan from Dentistry. She has gone through this exam and now she's serving for the army. Yeah. So this is something very, to be proud about. And then best part is that in this, you don't have any reservation, but then you still qualify it, because once you qualify the NEET exam, you're eligible for this interview, and they call you like lot of, 8 times, I think 5 times the students are called for the interview. And then among all the students, they filter and then they select a few. Only like 40 or 50 candidates are selected. And this too was not a fixed number of seats. It varies every year. So it's always a good news for us to get into Army Dental Corps. So this is another option for us.
Next is the career abroad. So if you are someone with career options in abroad, is the DDS. That is BDS. It's a same with that of BDS in India. So what happens is that the seats and of DDS are very costly, and you have to pay a hefty amount of money. So if you are planning to go to if you're planning to go to USA or Canada, so then you have to clear an exam first of all. That first NBT 1, National Board of Dental Examination 1, second level and 3 level. Even if you get cleared through all of this, even after that you have a degree, but then you have to study for more years, spending around lots amount of money for that 2 more years of study. Then only you are eligible to practice over there. So it seems like it's a really tough. Tough to go to like being abroad with doing a BDS here in India. So apart from that, even Canada and Australia, these exams are really tough, and to get to the main problem comes in these things are the practical things, because they want the dentist to be very precise and have a very artistic hand. So which we don't learn in this our country, like doing a BDS even from a good colleges. We don't have that amount of infrastructure and instrument to do a good work here in India. So you want to add something, Doctor?
Yeah. So this NBDA exam is there, which is pretty good. But then we need to know that after doing BDS, our degree, like Indian degree, is we are not eligible for United States. So we need to go through another 5-year programs of DDS, and that too we have to follow. 2 years. Okay, it's 2 years. Okay. So it's like you have to go through NBD, like level 3 level exams, and level first and second are all clinical and theoretical kind of exam. But the third level is like a clinical exam, which they conduct at their own university once you are called there. So this is an option, but this is pretty expensive,
So I have to say that even if you are going to appear for the exams, it costs around 16-17 lakhs for the sitting for exam also. So you are not sure whether you're going to get through or not, but then it's costly to sit in the exam also, I must say.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is like we have covered like about BDS and MDS as a whole, but at the same time, if anyone has questions about it, we can take the questions in the last section. So after going through everything about dentistry, we need to discuss about certain pros of BDS as a career option as well. And as far as the pros are concerned, pros is concerned, like advantages of doing BDS, taking BDS as a career option. We know that it is, of course, it is a noble profession because it's a kind of social service. We tend to help people to help the diseased, and then another advantage is that we have our own practice. We are independent of anything. We can start a practice just after graduation. This is one of the most, like, which is why most of the people tend to take dentistry, I guess, because we can set up an independent practice just after graduation, or 1 or 2 year of working in a hospital as a junior resident, non-academic. But then again, the question is that independent practice, where we need to see where we have to start a practice. So this is another question. Then third advantage is that we don't need any specialization to start a clinic. So depends, and this also depends where you practice. And then the fourth advantage is that Army Dental Corps. It's for armed force aspirants. It's a very good option to to get done with BDS, and then tend to serve the armed force. So these are basic pros for BDS as a career option. Rigzin, you have anything to say?
So I would like to say that the main the pros what I found as a career as a BDS is that the most important is that you can start your own clinic. You don't have to practice under someone, so you can be independent. That's the best part of being doing a BDS. Even with the BDS, you don't need any specialization, as Tondo will discuss, so that you can just start off with. But the thing is that you need to have a little of investment around 20 to 30, around some money, so that you have to gadgets and instruments that are little costly for being a dental practitioner. So apart from that, this is the thing I would like to say this only. So,
Yeah. So this is the pros about it. And then if you come to the cons of BDS, it's a career option. First is that we have a very few job opportunities in government setup. This is very clear. Like, we have got data as well. Only the 5% of graduate they get into government jobs. This is very very sad, like very unfortunate, but at the same time it's true. And then the fact is that because dentistry has the government has to invest a lot for setting up one dental practice. For one dentist, they have to invest a lot. So this is one of the major reasons that we have less opportunities in the government setup. But and the saturation level has also reached. So this should not be much of a problem for us, because saturation is in every profession these days. Be it engineers, be it any profession, we have a saturation level. And this is one of the problems in dentistry as well, because it's very what happens basically is that when people don't get into MDBS, they think that okay, BDS is another option, so let's go for it. And then the cost of private BDS is little less than private MBBS, right? So what do people do is they tend to go for this private dental courses, and there are a lot of colleges now. It's like every here and there in Punjab and in UP we have a lot of colleges. So people have a very shortcut way to just become a doctor, right? So this is one of the major reasons of the saturation level. So here I would like to focus on one thing, that being a Ladakhi, having this scheduled tribe status, if we are not able to qualify the exam for BDS or for MBBS or if BDS, then I don't think it's a very good option to go for a private BDS course, right? The reason being, you have seen all the pros and cons already. So this we should, as far as I'm concerned, I would suggest that you should never go for a private BDS just because you haven't got through MBBS and private government BDS. And in fact, instead of, even after having the scheduled tribe status, if we are not getting a seat, then we need to really reconsider our options, right? So, and doing a private BDS is surely not an option unless you are very passionate about it, unless you are actually interested in it. Sometimes people have like so much of passion for something, and they have enough money to spend on and they want to take the career, then it's obviously you're welcome for it. But then otherwise, just because you didn't get through the MBBS or BDS in a government college, you take private dentistry, it's actually a problem, because we have seen people actually struggling after that. People are even after graduating for a government college, they struggle a lot. So it's very they fall into a very difficult situation. And then we have this, and then on the other hand, like after BDS, the MDS seats, the postgraduate seats are very limited, and private institutes are really costly. So this is another reason, another disadvantage of doing BDS. And one thing we should be very clear about is that having a MDS degree doesn't guarantee us a job, a good government job. It's not like necessary that even after doing MDS you will get a job. Obviously you have to work hard, you have to struggle, and you have to be persistent enough to get into a government setup, but then it's not always a guarantee. So this is the reason that going for a private MDS is not also a way to get a job. So you need to be very considerate about this. And then of course, to open up a clinic, it takes a lot of investment. So we also consider it as a disadvantage unless you're very rich. So yeah. So it needs a lot of investment to start up a clinic, and but at the same time, it's not that it's not possible. Okay, a lot of people, a lot of seniors of ours from both Srinagar and Jammu, they have started up their clinic and they're doing pretty well. So this is so I think this is all about the disadvantages. Rixon, if you want to add something.
So I want to add is that situation has level, as already you said, that it has reached. So what I suggest is that in every profession, wherever you go, whatever you want to do, you need to be the good and best in that profession. Unless and until you are good at that, so you cannot survive in any of the profession as of now. So, and one thing I want to suggest is that there are many people who think that if I don't get to the MBBS or BDS or whatever you want to do in a 1 year, you try for the next year. Then again, there are many people who go for a second, third, or fourth chance also. So I suggest that if you are, you can give a maximum of 2 chances, and then I suggest don't go for a more than 2 chances, because it is a waste of time and waste of your energy. So I don't suggest to go for a more than 2 to 3 chances of going to an appear for an NEET or an entrance exam for any of the profession.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
There is one question from. Can we accept the questions now? How to prepare for MBS from Yangon?
Yeah, you have a question. It's on the chat, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the question is,
can
you please
since
tell
we are
how
already
to
done.
MBS?
Yeah,
so,
we're done.
So I would like to say is that once you are done with the BDS, then you end up in an internship. So internships, like first 3-4 months are really good time you have, and like you don't, like you are the one, like you feel like, oh, you are the now like complete. You feel like, oh, I'm really complete doctor now. Then you have a sense of being independent. So then after some time it starts like now and next. So I suggest that if you are going for an MDS preparation, you chill for a first 3 to 4 months and take your time. You have worked hard enough. Then you start after 3 to 4 months. You need to start studying, so that studying for the preparing for the MDS. So what I suggest is you start with an dental pulse, which is an available book. So you start from the subject that you like the most. So maybe a clinical or non-clinical. You start from that. Then I think then you start from that. You need to finish that book at least 2 to 3 times and at the end of your internship. So it's a little. You need to be a consistent while preparing for the MDS. So it's a little tricky part. This one you need to be more hard, like smart work than a hard work, because there are 19 subjects are there, and you cannot, like, it's like when you think of preparation also, like it's really like you can't think of it, because there are 19 subjects you need to cover in so less time. So I suggest that you take your time, like have a good time and relax, just think about it, whether you can do it, believe in yourself. Then what I find is most people tend to think that when you start opening a book, you start for a 1 hour, then you think that many people are preparing for the exam, then you think that, oh, I cannot do it. Believe me, most of the people think this way only. What matters is your mindset, whether you can do it or not. So this is what I suggest, that you just be consistent and give your good effort, and you could do it. So if you need any more assistance regarding books and all, you have my number or my email address. So I would like to help you with how to prepare in a good way. So I cannot explain this one in a short
exactly.
span of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that's very good.
yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, Kala,
Because
you can.
one more thing that I would like to emphasize here is Dr. Zinamjos was also a state NEET topper for MDS. His all India rank was 41, and he was an open merit within the state. A very good rank which nobody has been able to secure till now. So it's he's the go-to person for any of the queries regarding how to crack MDS exam, NEET exam, really. So again, well done on that, Dr. Izin. Yeah, thanks. And one more thing that I would like to say is this
it's
session,
actually
again,
a proud moment for all of us.
Yeah. So as far as
I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, are you able to hear us now? Okay. So yeah, because one thing I know him from childhood days, and what stands out for him is he was not too bright, to be very frank. During childhood days, he was not the first, not the person who is always first, second, third in the class, but he was someone who is consistent. So, and after 10th and then follow on, like he said, he has already shared his take that be passionate and be with people with whom you can compete more, and be consistent in your approach, work hard. So that's what he has proved to some extent, because after 10th, then 12th, after that, we have heard of him just climbing the stairs like anything. So it's the secret here again is just his hard work and consistency that he has already explained a lot of time, and believing in yourself, your capabilities.
So I would like to thank Tundu for this amazing platform in which you are providing and guidance to the students. If you were there before, then my time, that I would not have ended up doing BDS. So this is what I suggest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is really it's really nice. A good platform for students. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lamstan Forum. We are very thankful for this. Anyone has questions?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. Anyone is asking
questions?
Yeah. Yeah. Julian.
Yeah, Julian.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking this session. I have a question that is it still possible to crack NEET exam if I study in Ladakh itself? Okay, there is no coaching institute here and which prepares for NEET. Okay, so is it still possible to crack NEET?
Of course, like why not? That's some question. No, question demotes ya ki even after being in lay, even after having no coaching, we we can crack an exam. Of course you can. Of course you can, because you know, we never had any coaching, like coaching institutes with Daksa, it has started. The trend has started very soon, very lately, and that too, it has become a trend. It has become more of a fashion. Like you have to go to institute, then only you get through. It's not like that. Basically, what I think Rigzin will be a better person to answer this. Since he worked really hard. But then I have one thing only to say that. The basic NCRT books are very important for like NEET any of the basic like entrance exams, like NEET exam, AIMS or AIMS exam. AIMS also have MBBS exam for that. So what you need to do is you need to have a very strong basic. 11th and 12th, you read the NCRT books thoroughly. Along with that, MCQ questions solved, which is not only like studying the book, but at the same time, because school exams, you have to be very consistent with the school exams, but at the same time you have to have some MCQ books, because once you read a topic and then you do MCQs, it actually you tend to understand the topic better. So I suggest that you read the topic, just the basic NCRT yang sil, yang taksa yang po books yang reference books te gute kan yang po sil te yang po MCQs choose. Tene tuma concept clear chano. Tene concept ko clear chana thore chi exam jigyo na hala. Coaching institute join choose te you do mid do te mane zaruri te crack chachas lamo no. So chese na concept clear hoto no pa. AIMS exam and do basic AIMS MBBS exam te gune namang cha conceptual questions tiano. Along with that, sapik higher order thinking skills. They check chano tenang ko. Te fanga ta MCQs yang po join dugna. Taksa de chi sama books available uk so. Te gane. Te na man pa le ayod na coaching institute mit na ngata. Taksa we have this e-lectures mang po to no pala. E-lectures ito no institutes guni ko na oni provide chun packages hala. Continuing with the continue with the question. So Nunuli, it's very much possible. You know, this is what I want to say. Like Rigzin, if you want to add something.
What I suggest is the problem is with him is like most of the what happens is like it's a peer pressure. Like most of the students end up going like to Delhi, Jammu or somewhere else. And when he's there, like most of the students are demotivated because of that. Then he thinks that I'm the one here, then I could not do because that I'm here only. So what I suggest is that you do not think this way, because if you want to do it, you need to be like clear to your mind that I want to do it. Like you have to that motivation you need, the most important thing. If your motivation is there, then only you can work on that. So before that, I would say is that you need to first set belief, motivation you need, then you need to be consistent. So in home is that we are the place you are most distracted, no? Because if you are in a hostel or somewhere else, because you have a roommate who studies a lot, then you look up to that, you compare yourself to your study, you end up studying more. So in home, that less a chill environment. So I suggest that you hard work, you work like very like you put there are like you can have a like 6 to 8 hours like if you can put in a day, then it's like there are real possibility that you can get to. So one important thing I want to share is that in JNK they have increased the seat from around 300 to now it's around 800. So there are more chances you could get through, because I think they will be giving like giving seats to us also in future time also. So I suggest that you study hard, you self-believe in you need to keep believing in yourself, and you need to work hard on that. So I think it is real possible that you can do it easily. There are most of my friends they are like the one my friend is like Padma Tilnes. She's right now doing an ophthalmology from BGI. So even he studied from government school, and then there are Arif Abdullah. He studied from a KV school in Leh only. So they have ended up in cracking, and they are doing a very good job. Then very intelligent guys and very hardworking guys. So it's real possibility that you could do also.
Yeah, in fact, most of the students, most of the colleagues we know, most of them they have studied in Leh itself. Yeah, this is true. And then
the most like lacking part is the practice. Test series matches practice matches problems. So there are the online classes. There are like Google, internet facilities there in Leh. And when we were there, there doesn't used to be internet this one also. So there are lots of free courses are there, online tests are there. No, you download the app, free app, then you can work on that, then you check yourself whether you're going good or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Then Nunuli, one more thing I want to add is that you have to be very clear about your goal. Okay, so what I suggested is like Nunura goal bo agar MBBS choices in don't change the goal. Okay, just because you are not able to crack it once or twice. Okay, you have to be very particular that what you actually want to achieve. Mang chachi charukzena we goal for aim like we goal for MBBS, but what happens is like first attempt kabhi amiruk, second attempt kabhi we tend to be hopeless, and then we think okay yaar jo mil gaya le lo hai na. So we tend to take BDS, veterinary or anything, which is not actually like I don't suggest that, because first you need to be very particular what you really want. Halachi choches in now if you hard work choches ozam chig level hard work choches lampok nis tong mayana third time tong hala the much se tangste tasting ne machana then sapishi fair rest josia sapishi give yourself some time and then reconsider your own options, understand rai level ha go sam te on kha chandu gele so what you want to do, what is your aptitude hala te gun ha go se tene yang next step but never give up on your own dream, because dream bongan la rai give up chona thore thing ne ya problem chano so you are not able to do good in your profession, you know, and then you are not interested in your profession. So this is how people land up into trouble. So it's very important to have a clear cut goal.
So I suggest Tundu Bongel that you create a group of that like MBBS who are doing BDS. You can have share the numbers of these people, and you can give them to the student like Nono who is struggling with like questions like this. Allah, they could. I think the one who is doing MBBS, they will be able to help them in a better way than us. I guess. In the current scenario,
that's what the idea is. So they all of them have been added in respective WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other questions? Anyone? You can also write in the chat box if you want.
Yeah.
One thing because many people keep on asking lots of things, and sometimes I don't really have the answer. So one such question I would say regarding medical stream, MBBS or BDS, yes. When some people says that how they really need to study, the method of study, because some students complain that they are not able to remember what they study. Is there any particular method or anything that you would like to suggest? What do you call it, the smart work of doing it or remembering it? Anything that you would like to suggest you both?
So the thing is, the trick is before, if you have a chapter, what you need to do is before starting, you need to study the question patterns that have appeared, and you need to do a question bank before you starting the reading the subject. And what happens is that time you understand that which question appears, and then you tend to give more attention to those questions when that attention to those in that topics of the book. What I suggest is first you need to have a question bank of maybe one chapter that it has around 150 to 200 questions. You solve this, and then you check which this question has either this appeared for in this previous exam or not. If this has appeared in the previous exam, then what happens is your mind tends to give attention to those topics which you never give attention even after reading 10 times. What I suggest, do a question paper and read the question, check the question which has appeared, then you go for the book to study. Then you study those books, then your mind tends to give more importance and more attention to those questions that has appeared. So this is a good way to learn. Then apart from that, the student who had said he cannot remember, nobody remembers. So the revision is the key. You need to revise 2 times if you're not you cannot remind of 2 times and the 3rd time. But then you need to have a presence of mind. You are reading just for mug up is not to be done. You are reading and your mind is somewhere else, so that should not be done. You need to, like, if you have a page in a book, then you need to be so engrossed in a book so that you study as this is the only last page you have to study. So this is how you make up your mind. You give maximum your attention is needed.
Yeah, and the revision is the key to success. I think the more you revise, the more you remember. Yeah.
And that's what.
And I think that is where the discipline. Yeah, discipline is like, that's how a discipline, because once we read, we are very much thorough with the topic, and then you tend to think that, okay, I'll remember this forever. But then what happens totally opposite, right? You tend to forget after 2 readings, 3 readings. So it's very important that you do this kind of, so that it gets into your long-term memory. That is like, once you read today, you read it tomorrow, and then you read it after 5 days, and then after 10 days. So once it goes like in this pattern, it gets into your long-term memory, and then you tend to remember things easily. And then one more thing very important during entrance, which I also faced, is that because in medical we have a lot of information to remember. So when we are reading a lot of, we put a lot of information in our head, we tend to feel like, oh my God, now how will these things will come up? So what happens is all the information, they get stored into your system. What happens is, when you are writing the exam, you have MCQ. We know that NEET has an MCQ pattern. So what happens is, all the conscious, all the subconscious, all the things that inside your head, it surface up on its own when you are attempting the MCQ, right? So you don't need to worry about like, okay, at instant you have to remember everything. It's never like that. It's not possible for anyone. Okay. So once you read thoroughly, keep your notes aside, keep revising the things. And then when you attempt for the exam, the answers will come on its own. It's never like you won't remember it. Okay. So yeah, this is what I wanted to add. And anyone has more questions?
Yeah, because this is the question that we face lots of time while we.
Yeah. So one more thing I want to, in last session also I said that, you know, about the scheduled tribe status that we are, gifted with, I should say. So one thing I want to add is like, we really need to get over with this scheduled tribe status, you know, in our heads, because what is happening is that I personally feel, and I have heard it from so many of my friends and colleagues, that we tend to limit our potential because we have the scheduled tribe status. So we need to really get over with that thing, and we need to, because, you know, and these days it's actually, we are under a, you know, threat actually, like where anytime this can be taken away from us. So you need to be very considerate about it, and we need to get over with this idea that I have a reservation, so I'll get through, you know, even after getting 50 percentile or 60 percentile. So whenever you're preparing for an exam, never think that you're preparing just for 50 percentile because I'm a ST candidate, right? So you need to open your brains like anything, put all your energy, read everything, just as, you know, how an open merit student does. You know, open merit students are working really hard, and we are actually working less than them. That we have to accept it, right? So once you are like once you are over with this idea that I have a status of scheduled tribe, I can, you know, crack anything. So just get over with it, and then focus on, like, just think that you have to crack the exam in open merit. And there are so many people, like, you know, we have our own, like, colleague Dr. Rickson has cracked in open merit. That too, he topped the exam, first rank. And it's actually not a joke to crack an exam like that. So this is an inspiration for all of us. And so we need to think like him, you know, we need to be very open to it, that, okay, I'll crack the exam in open merit. And so that much of energy you have to put in preparation, both for the undergraduates and postgraduates. Just let's get over with the scheduled tribe status now. Yeah. Anything Rickson has to say about it? He is actually an inspiration for all of us about it.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to say that just being like, it's a mindset we need to create. Like, if we think that, I cannot do it, there are categories there, so that doesn't help you in any way, because there's no harm in doing like overstudying and you doing a better. So it's always better to be on a safer side than just think that, okay, I may get through this category or not. So better aim for a better some aim bigger, so that you could at least be somewhere else, so that there is a better chance of you are getting through MBBS or any, even IIT or through NITs and all. So what I say is that get through the category and work hard for the exam. So there are no chances that you could get through or get through the exams, right?
Yeah. So yeah, there will be many more questions that maybe we will have once we have this video published online as well. So one thing in general that again I would like to emphasize here is we tend to think in a very short manner, or like due to our own short-sightedness, I would say, that people or students who are scoring very well in their school time, they're among first, second, or third always, and we tend to think as and even our parents or our relatives or all the people tend to think that these are the people who will get successfully through a great career. But that's really not the case, and I have myself seen this thing at various instances. When you talk about a career, it's not a short-term goal, so nobody can say anything you can't predict or judge anyone's capability or anyone's success in a career based on your initial results or outputs they're giving. So even in career, even in people who are in 30s, I think there may be people who can come up certainly in 30s doing a business or doing great job, certainly. And Jack Ma, those sort of people who have been not been able to do very well in initial career days, but certainly popped out as an industry wide expert or someone who is well known throughout the world. So the lesson here we need to understand is don't get disheartened at school times when you're not able to come in first, second, third position. The key thing that is you need to be consistent in your approach. You need to compete with yourself initially, that all your results and outputs and all the achievement that you're doing, that graph should always be steady or towards upward trending graph, not downward trending graph, so that at some point you will have more appreciation. And when you need to compete, when you think that you have got a suitable environment wherein you can excel and you can compete throughout the world, again we have to remember, like Dr. Tundov has discussed again, that don't take it easy that we have scheduled type category, that's why we are able to get in easily. No, that's a definite no. Because when you're talking about career, okay, it might help you to end up in a college or get the admission, but it will not help you in your career. Because when we're talking about career, we cannot think of anything locally that we're competing with people only in Ladakh or only in India. We need to think of career as a global perspective. So we are competing globally, and then only we can be the best of best that Dr. Rigzin was telling about, the saturated condition in all the career. That means that we have lots of engineers, we have lots of doctors, but what stands out is being the best of best and doing your best in that career so that you are able to excel in those careers. So that's the takeaway that everyone needs to understand and learn. So that's all from my side, unless Dr. Tunduk or Dr. Rigzin has to add anything, and we can end up the session.
So I think this will be it. So if anybody has any question or any more queries to ask, I would like to help in future also. So I could share my number. Tunduk can share my number and email address also. So we will be happy to help in any time.
I think someone has a question. Stanzin Tundub has a question that how the UT status will impact on a career in medical sector, example jobs.
Jobs. So I would like to say that current status is that UT, they have put on advertisement of various seats, many seats around. There are many seats, around 60 medical officers and around specialties also 20 to 30. Most were pediatricians and gynecologists. So there are lots of scope till now in there's a scope coming up in Ladakh. So there is as far as this MBBS and medical doctor is concerned. So there is lots of scope coming up. There are more number of. They are going to increase the more number of doctors also. So there are more scope than the previous one. So I think the problem with now that recruitment how they will do is the problem. So most of the UT, the recruitment goes through UPSC. They conduct the UPSC exam for a medical officer. Then their center conducts it. Then they do those all things. So the problem is that if it is open for all, then anybody from India can appear the exam and anybody can come to the Ladakh one. So till now we do have no idea whether there's a job reservation or job security is there for us or not. So that's the main dilemma till now it is there. So whether they will be recruiting all the people from all over India or from Ladakh only.
Yeah. So to add on again, like UT status impact on a career in medical sector. So that I think what he wants to know is like, after having UT status, will we be able to get more jobs? See, it's more about, it's not about more jobs in medical, but it's about, I think it's about how well you do in it and how competent you are, because now it's very much likely that we are going to be recruited from the Union Service Public Commission, that is UPSC. So we need to be very much competent. And for that, we have to start it from the very beginning, from the UG only. And of course, as medical doctors, they have a lot of jobs. As dental officers, that is medical officer dental, they have less amount of jobs. But medical people, of course, they have more jobs. And then at the same time, nursing. Nursing has a very very good kind of job opportunity will be there in the coming future, coming colleges, because GMC will be opened up, so there will be all the wards will be there, different sectors will be, different departments will be there. So nursing will have a very good this thing. And yeah, so this is something to add to. And another question is from Lunduk Dorje. He asked that if I'm unable to crack NEET after 12, is it a good option to drop? Yeah. So Rigzin, what do you have to say on this?
It's okay if you like, you think you could do it next time. 1 year drop is fine. Other than more than that, and I suggest that don't go for more than two chances over. You don't have to appear for more than 2 times. It's a waste of time. And even if you end up getting into that, is a role. The real struggle starts after you get into the BDS or MBBS. The real struggle starts there. So I suggest that if you are like not able to cope, like not able to get through, then I suggest you carry on with another thing. There are lots of courses are there, good courses are there. So you better do the other things than other than going to like restricting yourself to one career option and trying to get in through it. So I think better you go for another options also. So not more than two, like more than two attempts are like more than that you should not go. I guess so for, as far as I'm concerned, I
Yeah.
don't
So
suggest to go for more than two.
so to add on to this, Lunduk Dorje, if you are not able to crack NEET after 12th and it is your first attempt, first of all, I need to, I want you to sit somewhere and then think about what you actually want, like you have to talk to yourself, like, what is my goal? What do you want? Okay. Once you're not able to crack it, just sit, give yourself some time, a clear head, and then ask yourself what you really want to do. Okay. What is your like choice? Not because somebody wants you to do, not because your parents want to do you to be you to clear an exam or to be a doctor or an engineer. Not like that. First, you need to clear your head, sit somewhere, talk to yourself, and then ask yourself what you really want. If your goal is actually to become a doctor and there is no seeing back, then I always suggest, I think that you should try again and again unless you crack it, because we still have an edge over the open merit students. We have the category, but then you prepare yourself in such a manner that you can crack through open merit as well. Okay. So you try it over and over. Like as per as Gurgi is concerned, Gurgi says it's two times, but then I always suggest that if you are not able to do twice, then you can also attempt for the third try as well. Because if you're very much passionate, only if you're very much passionate about that, okay, not because somebody else wants you to do that. Okay. So that way you give your try again and again unless you do it. And then if you're still not able to crack, then you think of changing your career. Now, after that, you try to understand yourself, okay, like where you stand, is your aptitude as well. It's not just about working hard, like, freakingly you work hard and you don't know what you really want. So you need to know what you want, and at the same time, you need to set a goal, and then knowing your own aptitude, knowing your own interest, and then you decide about dropping, etc. Right? And if you still want to be in medical profession, and I suggest that nursing is a very good career. As far as I observe for so many years, that nursing is actually a very good option. If you're not able to crack MBBS, nursing is a very good option after that. So you can go.
Hello.
Disconnected, I guess.
Yeah, I guess she's disconnected. So
So apart from that, what we suggest is, apart from that, there are many career options in medical, like veterinary is also there. It's a very good scope, very nice thing. And even they have the subject that you can appear for UPSC through that veterinary thing or veterinary subject. So apart from that, veterinary is also there. So like then apart from, many people are doing agriculture. Even that is same saturated as of BDS, same as the BDS. So that there's lots of competition in that agriculture. So these are the medical subjects you are going to. Apart from that, there are also biotechnology. You can go to you can do a biotechnology. Apart from that, zoology honors and all, and which are available in this one, Delhi University and Chandigarh. You can do that also. That even those are the very good options as of now. You can so lots of colleges like colleges will come up in future. So you have being a scope of being an academician in those schools or colleges. So there are lots of scope coming up. So, but then you need to choose it wisely whether what you want to do and what you want to be.
Yeah. And then there is another thing I want to add about Indian Institute of Science, Scientific Education and Research. That is ISER. So ISER is a very, if you want to get into a science branch like BSc and MSc, ISER is a very good branch, a very good institute to get into. It again conducts entrance exams at 12th class level. If you want to pursue like research, for research oriented people who want to become a scientist, to do something in biology, something in something very significant and research kind of thing. If you're interested in science, then you can go for, rather than having a degree from a basic institute like BSc from a normal college, you should always opt for this institute, Indian Institute of Research. For both physics, chemistry, and biology. So this we hardly any of us know about it. We didn't know about at our times, So this is another option. You can go on the website and you can check for the availability of seats. They also have a reservation thing, and at the same time, it's a very good option. It's two branches are there in Pune and Mohali. So in fact, 5 branches are there, but these 2 are like the latest ones. So you can opt for those also if you want to pursue BSc.
Thanks, Dr. Kundu. So is there any more questions from anyone who would like to ask? Any of the BDS students?
Yeah, BDS students, Kunzam Chodol, I think she's a junior of us. If you have any question, you can ask.
Or even you can share your experience with the wider students who are yet to go for BDS as well. So yeah, either you can ask a question or you can share your experience within college.
Yeah, exactly. You can always share your experience. And I think there is another senior of us who is practicing dentist in Nubra. She can share her experience as well. I think she's not there. Okay. So yeah, thank you, Nunu Lundu. Yeah, it's a pleasure. You can anytime you can ask us questions. If we have, I'll send you your email and phone number also. You can always take guidance from us at any time. Any more questions? And yeah.
So if there's no question, then we will end this session here. So it's supposed to be 1 hour, but it always gets up to 2 hours because there's a lot of things that matters always shares, and there's lots of other things that mentees are interested in knowing more. So it's always the case, which is good, and we will certainly publish this session online as well on our YouTube channel. So I would like to thank Dr. Rizin Tamchos and Dr. Tundu Gupta for giving more insight details about dentistry, which many of people or the students might not know. And just before that, I think there's one question from someone. Any words for pursuing first and second year in BDS and still confused, want to try to do MBBS? So what would you like to say?
I would like to say if there's a first whoever is doing in the first year and it's a first attempt, then it's like really good to you can go for a next chance. And if the one is second year, then you might be almost half finished the degree. Then I think I don't suggest you waste your time with going for again and doing MBBS. So I think better you carry on and you excel in this area. Be good and to excel in here this course only. So if your first year, like if you have a first chance and if you go through first chance and you are first year, like that, you should go for one more try. I would suggest that.
Yeah, and if you really think that it's not for you, then you should always get out of it. If you really think it's not for you, yeah, you can always quit and you can always have a second chance and you can think of other alternatives if you still think it's not. But if you think you're doing well in it, then of course you can work really hard and do really good in this field as well. This is for, I think, somebody who asked the question. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the question. Yeah, so thank you for joining this session and thank you both for hosting today's session. And going forward, we hope that there will be more sessions on BDS and dentistry side of things. Maybe what would be good is if they could add all the BDS professionals that you know in that particular group, which we have for MBBS and BDS. It would be good because overall we want to add all the people, all the career professionals, so that going forward there will be advanced level of discussions going on, not for the students, but even for between the early career professional and the professionals and the students who are actually pursuing those courses, so that they can have more mentorship and guidance.
Yeah, of course we can do that.
Yeah. That's all. Thank you. Thanks all for joining this and being for nearly 2 hour session. And yeah, it's good, really good to see you all. And we will be publishing this on YouTube as well. So once it's published, please do share among all your colleagues who have not been able to join, and few the people understand we are struggling to get internet connectivity as well. So they could also reach out on our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you so much, Ajit Tundu. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening. Have a nice time.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Bye.